Hello and welcome to episode 185 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with socials.
Yeah, welcome back. The Wall 77 Club on Facebook and Instagram, at 77 Club Podcast on Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, 5-star ratings. Hello, everyone.
And Dan Bayliss is here.
Yeah, hello, Wolves fans.
One person isn't here is Jack Williams. He would normally be here, and because he isn't here at short notice, I'd normally make up something hilarious as the reason as to why he wasn't here. But the actual reason that he isn't here is far more funnier than anything I could have come up with, because he went to Cheltenham yesterday and must have stayed at his sister and brother-in-law's, and then had some boxes to take back to London with him, and has pulled his back transporting some Sonic comics to the car. So
many questions.
So many questions. Why? Anyway, look, let's just leave him to it. I mean, get well soon, Jack. But Harry, it's a bit of a weird one because we missed last week. So I'm just trying to think where we should start. And I think maybe the Palace game. There's not really much to talk about on that front because of how diabolical it was. But I think the one thing that came out of it and sort of cracks starting to appear, I think, at the time regarding Keanu Hoover's future. Is this a final nail in the coffin? Do you think that he has the stamina, the mentality, the attitude to come back from something like the dressing down that he got from Bruno, which was, I've got to say, very, very harsh?
Yeah, it was surprising. But I've always said, I think Bruno Lage is quite honest. And if that's what he felt at the time after such a poor first half, he come out and said it. And I think in hindsight, if we'd have done this podcast last week, I think I'd have been really critical of Bruno Lage. But I think the way he handled it and the way he pretty much called out, he kind of did single out Hoever, but he was calling out a lot of the young players as well. Yeah. And it feels like it gave him a right kick up the ass because we're now talking a week or so later and we've won the next two. So maybe it worked. So I don't mind it in hindsight, but I do feel a bit sorry for Hoever, but he made some valid points. And we slated him after the West Ham performance, didn't we? Saying how bad he was and he should have took his chance. So he might have needed to hear that. And like I say, in hindsight, I think it was the right thing to do.
Bayliss, failing to prepare to fail. Isn't it strange, though, to have kids like this with a poor attitude, as Bruno says? And if it is true, I'm guessing it's true, especially when you've got someone like Jan Martino there, 35 years old, looks after himself all the time. He's been there and done it on the world stage as well. He should be a role model, shouldn't he? But it just seems it's an attitude problem, but it's not just attached to Hoever.
I think Bruno was completely justified in what he said. They're some of the worst performances I've seen in a very long time, and if he's not doing it on the training ground and it's evident to his teammates and his coaches that he's not putting it in, then go and slam him, because this is the Premier League. It's the best league on earth. You can't turn up unprepared and play like that and get away with it. So completely with what he said, call it out, make the players work harder and make them earn the shirt and earn their position on the pitch. So I'm totally with that. On a separate note, I hope you're okay, Jack.
I hope he's hurt for a short time.
It is very rich of three men in their 30s, one who looks like something out of Thunderbirds, to be mocking a guy for his Sonic comics.
Is it me or Harry?
You look like bloody brains with them.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you meant Harry's eyebrows.
Oh, and that. So, Mary on strings. Back to the football.
Yeah. Sorry.
Do you know what? It was a proper turning point, wasn't it, Palace? I haven't seen us play that badly in a first half for a long time.
Oh,
maybe West Ham the week before.
No, Palace was worse, mate. We didn't have a touch, did we? Didn't have a kick. So maybe the kick they needed was up the arse, and it sort of worked. I think Johnny is... We've had time to think about this, and we've had results post it to sort of reflect on what happened and how it's changed the dynamic. But Johnny coming back in, oh, thank God. Thank God. Absolutely brilliant. That's the wing backs that I bang on about and hammer on about. That's how you play it. You work your absolute nuts off for as long as you possibly can and give all you can. And you've got to get up and down the pitch. You've got to put your tackles in, but you've also got to get forward. And Johnny is the antithesis of it. Absolutely brilliant. Watch him now snap his ACL again on Friday night. Now I've said that.
I mean, it's not the worst defence in the league. It's one of the best. But I do understand what you're saying. I do think he is our best defender. Harry, it is good to have him back. I think you probably, like 99% of other Wolves fans, would say if it was Semedo and Johnny, it would be in a pretty good place.
Yeah, brilliant. And obviously, we're going to move on to the Watford game in a minute. And he was fantastic that game, wasn't he? And I know he came on in the Palace game, but he's just quality. And he's kind of been thrown back in earlier than he probably thought, because I think Bruno expected Hoever to do better, as we've already discussed. And we know how good he is. Yes, he's always played left wing back for us, but I think we all knew deep down he could switch. Obviously, he's right-footed, but we knew the quality of the bloke. We just knew he'd fit in, and he has, hasn't he, already? And he's been brilliant.
Let's have a look at that Watford game. Absolutely bossed possession, 2/3 of the ball, 5 on target to Watford 0. Another Watford own goal in there, which was the same for the return leg earlier on in the season. I think was it September or something like that. Just the complete performance almost, wasn't it, Dan? And it, like you say, it was absolutely needed. We know Watford are pretty dreadful, although they've gone and got results before this game and since. So, let's not take anything away from that.
Yeah, they're very much hot and cold, aren't they? It depends which Watford turn up. But it was a mix of two perfect storms, really. We needed a performance and we did it. And at the same time, it was a complete capitulation from Watford. I mean, Hodgson, I know he's getting on a bit, but he must know that you can't let Neves have 10 yards of space in the middle of a pitch to do what he wants. And it proved dividend, didn't it? Everton sort of caused us a little bit more of a problem because they closed down quickly in the middle. Yet Watford completely stood off us and then let us get down the side. They were dreadful. I'm glad that the worst performance at Molineux this year wasn't Wolves against Palace. It was Watford against us. That is a silver lining to it, and to happen so quickly. But yeah, all praise to Wolves because we went and did a job and did it really well. The team we played against were sadly absolute fodder.
Harry, some criticism came in for Max Kilman. Bruno said it was more of a progression of maybe letting things slip a bit. I mean, he's been an outstanding player for Wolves this season, and no one's going to take anything away from that. And obviously, things that are happening politically in Ukraine obviously aren't going to help that situation. But for Max Kilman coming out of the side, Willy Bolly comes back into it. And again, I think he just improves the defence demonstrably.
Yeah, he was brilliant when I saw it. I kind of expected, because he had a bit of a tough game, didn't he, against Palace, Kilman. As you mentioned, things going on in Ukraine. But Bolly come back in and he was just like the Bolly of old, wasn't he? He's like, what's wrong? What's been wrong with him? He seems fine to me. And he was solid, composed on the ball. It helped that Watford were pants, obviously. But it was a big game because obviously going off the back of the Palace game, the fan base was expecting a result. And luckily for us, we were 3-0 up within 20 minutes and we only had 2 shots on target because obviously one was an own goal and Ben Foster, comedy value. Ben Forster. He was just, obviously, he's Edwin at it, was he? Was getting abused from the minute go. And great finish from Podence, by the way. I know it's an open goal, but the way he just flicked it in with his left foot, the way he did, I thought was brilliant. Nice to see Raul back on the score sheet and an assist from Wang. But I agree with Bayliss, although it was a perfect start and a perfect game that we needed to bounce back, Watford were terrible.
Agree. Yeah. And I think, are they down, Dan, do you think now? Is that it?
It's a bit tight down there, isn't it? So I do think Norwich and Watford will probably drift away, won't they? They just don't look up to it, even though Norwich had a decent result at their place against us. But yeah, I think that the final spot's the one that's going to be fought for because, God, they were bad. You're not going to stay up playing like that.
That'd be interesting as well because we've got Leeds coming up on Friday. We're talking about that shortly. Was there a man of the match in that Watford game, Harry?
Yeah, we can't just brush over Neves' goal first, though, because that was just incredible, wasn't it? That chip. And he's been, I know Bayliss mentioned that they give him a lot of space and he ran the show, which he has been doing lately. So for me, I would give it to Ruben Neves, not just for that goal, for his overall performance. And I just want to mention another little incident that happened. Well, a couple. First of all, there was nearly an action replay of Podence's goal from the first half where Foster gave it to him again, but this time he caught it. I don't even remember that, which I found funny. And can you remember the disallowed goal? There was a disallowed goal where the corner came in. Neves
I can't find a reason for it.
It came straight out to Raul. He volleys it left-footed into the roof of the net. Perfect goal. Nothing happened. No, VAR didn't even check it, and I couldn't see any problem with it. And weird. So it should have been 5-0.
I don't get why he blew his whistle. Surely the whole point of this VAR thing is you let it play and then you check it. And if he's seen a pull or a push, then go and have a look.
But and you had did you have 4-1, Harry?
I did have 4-1, yeah. I was like, come on, Watford, please.
Anything. Oh, unlucky. So then I suppose from one relegation candidate, and you can't believe you're saying this, at Everton, next game at Goodison, and after Wolves' 1-0 win at Goodison Park, it actually puts them level with Watford on 22 points, although they have 3 games in hand over Watford. So you've got to get some points. So it's not much use having games in hand if you're not going to get any points from them.
Can I ask a question?
You may.
What goal was better, that Neves chip or the volley v Derby?
Volley v Derby.
Jeez,
I think mostly because of the videos of the Derby goal from the Derby end, where they're going, "Wee," for thinking it's going to sail over the bar, and
his first touch on it, they're like, "Wee," because he goes behind him.
Yeah, I think so. Close so. But now we've got to say what's in the comments. Oh. You should head over to YouTube, check out those comments, because it's all I saw was lesbian haircut, and I hope they're talking about.
We can't read that out, mate. Sorry, it's about Jack.
Right, okay. Look, Connor Cody on the score sheet. Brilliant. I think is it 3 goals in something like 37 games this time around, and it took about 297 games to get 3 goals previous to those. So Harry's in the box. He's doing a lot more. He's a lot more threatening now, and he's scoring goals. And it must be absolutely fantastic for him as a pretty much a diehard Liverpool supporter to be going and doing that at Goodison.
Yeah, buzzing for him, to be honest. I thought he had a good game as well, and this was a weird one for me because I saw the outrage, and I was slightly disappointed too with the team that started. We obviously went back to bringing Dendoncker in with a free midfield. I thought he'd go 3-4-3, I must admit, and go out a struggling Everton side. But in hindsight, I think Bruno got it right, didn't he? First half an hour, nothing happened, did it? We didn't even get in their box. We just contained them. They didn't look too threatening, to be honest, because obviously we're quite solid at the back. Richarlison was their only live wire, and we grew into it, didn't we? And in second half, after Cody's goal, it was quite comfortable. I don't know what you lads thought.
Oh, sorry, I'm just looking at the comments again, Harry. I can't. you look at that, and then I'll talk to Bayliss for a bit. This is
I'll just say this.
Oh dear, Dan again, boss in possession, and I mean they finished with about 12 minutes left, wasn't it, with a man down, but it didn't really make a difference in the end. And to be fair, I think they did have their chances, and on another day, probably Richarlison would have taken one of those, wouldn't he? So I mean, they are really fine margins, and they're even finer when you're at the bottom of the league like they are.
I mean, for a very expensive team, made up of names, they were poor.
Yeah.
Especially in the middle of the park, they looked a bit weak. I thought Van der Beek got himself about a bit, but other than that, wasn't much going on, was there? Richarlison on his day could have punished us, but I thought we controlled the game reasonably well, and we took our chance, didn't we? And that's all it means. But I don't get how a team with that many names in and that much quality can be as bad as they are. Because they looked a bit toothless, didn't they? Richarlison probably had 2 decent chances that another day he might have got one.
The side netting, didn't it?
Yeah. Another day he might have been in the mix, but they're weak, they're poor, and we shithoused them a little bit, even though we probably were the better team and had a lot of possession and did play a good game of football. We sort of kept pretty tight and did our job properly, whereas they seemed to open themselves up a little bit too much to us. It's a convoluted way of saying we were better, isn't it?
It was like the Wolves of old, and that's because I think pretty much it was. You got Dendoncker, Neves, and Moutinho pulling strings in the middle. I thought Dendoncker had a brilliant game.
Yeah, he did okay. I think Neves and Moutinho were the ones that stood out for me, really, especially Neves again. That one run he went on, I think it was second half, when he ran through and put Marcel in, incredible. But I thought Kilman just coming straight back in as well. I thought he was he played way better than he did against Palace, obviously, which was a good thing.
Were you surprised he came back in?
Yeah, well, we know we've said about this the other week with the Thursday, Sunday. It's all this red zone stuff, isn't it? That's why I think Marcel came in for Aït-Nouri too. So I think some of them were tactical, but some of them were due to, down to the red zone. I just want to give Raul a shout out because he's been getting a lot of stick. Although he didn't score, I thought he had a really good game up front, holding the ball up well. And if that overhead kick would have gone in first half, bloody hell, I'd have ran to Everton and celebrated with him. But it's a great effort, wasn't it? Well, not in the end because it nearly went out the stand, but Good technique.
Dan, was there a man of the match in there? Difficult, isn't it?
Is it
I
difficult?
had a good game, to be fair. I thought we commanded his box.
Johnny again was superb. So I think I'm going to go there.
Man of the match, I'll give it Neves for the Watford one. So I'm going to go Cody, and I guess I think you two got to say sorry to Cody, ain't you, the way you slated him.
Me?
One thing I will say, though, and it's about the officiating, actually, because I mentioned Jose Sarr, is that there was a couple of times where Sarr had to made a couple of really good saves, and he was sort of throwing himself at the feet of Everton players and could potentially get injured, or only for it to be flagged offside or a foul. And it's just becoming a little bit more common now, where you're seeing this thing where the assistant referee isn't putting the flag up because they're waiting. But I think, how long is it going to be before there's an injury? Because something has happened where it could have absolutely 100% been avoided by putting your flag up.
No, I agree with that. And it happened, like you say, it happened a few times. But
yeah,
I think the only positive thing from our point of view is Sarr dealt with them all the time, didn't he? So,
yeah, he did. But
he
flung himself, didn't he, at Richarlison, and just scoops it away from it. So
that was a great save, but he don't know that. He didn't know it was off, did he? So it is wrong because, like you say, it could cause an unnecessary injury. So Sarr was brilliant again, wasn't he? Now you've mentioned him, he was good as well. Made a few good saves, especially first half. He went through. I think it was Richarlison again, was it?
Yeah.
He went from that tight angle. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm going to have to give it Cody just because of the stick you lot have given him. So he deserves this one.
Not buying it.
And how good were the scenes at the end of the game, by the way? I know, I've always said Cody's he is a top bloke, and he's straight over to the kid, got him out.
I think what you said, he's a really great guy, but he can't defend. I think that's what you said. I think
that's changed. To be honest, we've got to say this season, apart from a few games early on and maybe the Palace game, his performance levels have been a lot better, haven't they? I think it helps having Sarr behind him. But
leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Credit where credit's due, innit? You've got to say when they're doing well, but when they're doing bad, you've got to say that too.
A progression really is. And I think, he will have an eye on the World Cup, and I will be shocked if he doesn't go. But, I mean, he's in it now.
I forgot about them having a man sent off as well, didn't they, on about the 80th minute?
Yeah, I did 78th minute, yeah.
I think we'd have seen it out anyway, but that pretty much sealed it, didn't it, once they got that second
yellow?
So.
Yeah. If we're going to talk about it, Cody has to go to the World Cup because Mings has been terrible.
Well, I think tomorrow, it's Wednesday today at time recording, I think tomorrow that they're announcing the England squad for 2 friendlies coming up. So hopefully Kilman and Cody get in.
But yeah. And I think it's one of those, once you're in, but I think it'd be really interesting because it's going to start to give a feel of who's going to be going to Qatar. And I think when you look at players on form, the big players, like John Stones, people like that, it's not getting game time. And people like Ben White, Kilman, Cody, they're in some pretty staunch defences. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. Let's move on to the Leeds game. If you're watching on YouTube, you can just hop onto our channel and watch the away perspective. Harry got Ben and Ben, the Leeds men, for that. So Harry's all done that. If you listen to this on the podcast, here is your away perspective. But Harry, I'll start with you. You've spoken to Ben and Ben squared, and what was the feeling in the camp? I mean, you opened up with obviously Bielsa, so we don't need to talk about that too much. But how are they feeling about this one?
Well, they predicted, as you just heard, a draw, both of them. They said they'd take a draw. They had that really important win against Norwich, didn't they? Last minute. They got Ted Lasso injured. I've got to say it was straight face. Jesse Marsh, obviously an American coach, he actually made the joke himself in an interview. I watched one where he said, Ted Lasso's done me no favours. That's a terrible American accent.
Was that an American?
Yeah, I mean, he's a fairly unknown coach, isn't he? And it's an important win against Norwich, but I don't know. They're a good team. They've just got Bamford back. I know they've been riddled with injuries, so they've got Bamford back. Obviously, Rafinha's a threat. And I think they know how good we are, though. And they know it's a tough place to come. They mentioned our defensive record. And God, we forgot to mention as well after the Everton game, 8 Premier League away wins. That's a record for us, isn't it, after that? So that's pretty impressive. But also, on the other hand, we've failed to score at 8 home games too, haven't we? So it's one of them where we think we're going to win, but it could be more tricky than you think with them fighting for their lives.
Bayliss, should this be a normal day at the office? I don't really know what a normal day at the office, if your office is Molineux and your Wolves, is, but should it be routine?
I don't think it's going to be. They got the whole new manager thing, and they are dangerous. We know they concede a lot, but they also do have a threat now, especially if Bamford back. So I think we will do enough to edge it. I think we are playing well enough now, and they've had a run of bad results that we'll do enough. But it's going to be a tight one, a 1-0 or a 2-1, something like that.
Oh, you reckon? All right. Harry, if there are going to be any changes, where would you think they're going to come in?
You'd assume we go back to 3-4-3, wouldn't you? Being at home, you'd hope. So that means Dendoncker comes out.
No Hwang. So
is he definitely out? Is he? That's a good point. He got injured, didn't he? Come off injured.
I mean, I don't know how you could drop Podence in the first place, but
and obviously Neto wasn't on the bench against Everton, so it'd be interesting to see if he comes back into the squad. Is he going to give Trincao another go? Probably not. So yeah, it'd be obviously I'd go 3-4-3, Podence, Raul, and hopefully Hwang or Neto if they're available. But I don't know. I'm guessing they'll keep Kilman at the back too, because we've had it's been Sunday to Friday. Is the red zone going to kick in again? It's so mad, the technology. Yeah. I'm not too sure, but yeah, you've got to go attacking. You've got to go attacking against Leeds because they are vulnerable at the back, aren't they? We've all seen what they're like, and I'm going to go with my 4. This is a good point, actually. The last time my 4-1 bet won was against Leeds in the Championship.
Yes, it was.
At home.
And did you cash out?
No, that was the Bolton game.
That was the Bolton game.
Yeah, but I actually
had... The one that ended 5-0?
That ended 5-1.
Yes,
so,
yes,
yeah.
5-1.
I was going to cash out and I didn't at 4-1. It's been that long since Wolves won 4-1, man.
Oh, no. God, that is a while ago. Score prediction, Dan.
I'll stick with my 2-1.
Harry?
I've got to go 4-1 and 4-1 Wolves. Got to do it. It's written in the stars.
So, I mean, we all think we're going to win. So that'd be our 1,001st win because Everton was 1,000 wins in the top flight. There you go. Yeah. That is impressive, isn't it? Really. I mean, there won't be many teams that have reached that milestone. Just before we move on to the latest betting odds, and I don't know if we've got any ticket news because Jack isn't here. Did you see Cody's message on Instagram to somebody?
Is that real?
I don't know. I wanted to talk to you about it because I was like, it's hilarious, but I don't think it's something that he'd say. I mean, it looks.
I haven't seen this.
So it says, big win tomorrow, please, Con. Put another nail in Everton's coffin for us. And then he replied post-game. Morning, Johnny, lad. Sorry for the late reply. Been up all night. Empty my pockets. Had Richarlison and the rest of the shite in them. And how was that for a nail? Fucking shite them, aren't they? I hope it's true. But the more I say it, I don't think it is.
The thing is,
you never know.
The thing is with those Instagram DMs, I saw the picture. They're so easy to Photoshop.
Yeah,
and I don't think would Cody. He's only just joined Instagram. He don't feel like Cody's the type who'd say something like that to someone he knows would screenshot it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
it's not.
I think it's fake. It sounds.
I just wanted it to be real.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant.
But it isn't. Anyway, let's get your latest betting odds.
Yeah, I've got a few actually. They're pretty high priced. Sorry, I got excited. I'll start with a short one. There's a boost on Sky Bet at the moment. Wolves to win 1-0, 2-0, or 2-1, 11-4.
Ooh,
decent bet that.
Yeah.
Jimenez to score first, 3-1 Wolves is 55-1.
That's quite low, I think.
It's because it's a striker, isn't it? That's all it is. Max Kilman, 1-0 Wolves. I quite like the look of that because
120
from set pieces. 125-1.
Oh, I'm still waiting for him to do a 30-yard run and just smash it top bins, but he always ends up passing it.
The guy that I think could go on a decent run against their open defence is a Johnny to score first, 2-0 Wolves, 240-1.
Wow.
And then I got some other odds for you.
Oh
God.
It's Cheltenham week.
Of course it is. Have we got Wolves-inspired horses?
I've only found a couple, to be honest.
No, fair play. Yeah, good for you.
In the 4:10 tomorrow, Cool Cody is running.
Thursday,
At the moment. Yeah. 20-1. At the moment. There you go. There is a horse in gold and black in the 5:30, Lord Accord. It's about to find. There isn't a lot. The only other one I found Friday in the last race. There's a horse called Lucky Max. It's 50-1 though.
50.
That said, I think an 80-1 a place today. So
I've had one bet,
got a chance.
And it was today, and it was called Call Me Harry, and I think it fell over. So.
And Bayliss, what was your story? Because Harry was like, "Did it finish?"
I said no. It ran the first lap, then it went into the grandstand and had a pint and watched it on the telly.
Taking part accounts. Oh dear. Well, look, if you win some money on the betting, and obviously bet responsibly and all that stuff, but if you win some money, then potentially you could put it towards a trip to America to watch Wolves in pre-season. Was it John Percy, I think, dropped it on Twitter, Harry, that there were rumblings, or it's in the offing that it may happen. I think it would be something like the first time. Is it the first time ever
Since
that Wolves
72,
were
I think?
or 70, so 50 years?
Yeah,
So I thought they had a 50 years in my head, but so that would have been the year that we lost the UEFA Cup final, I think. Would you go, firstly?
Just before I answer that, is that Paul's just put in the comments, Semedo's running the 2:30? Is there actually
isn't even a 2:30 race tomorrow?
Oh,
so.
Paul, you've had me there. I believe that then. America, well, I'll tell you what, I'd love to go, obviously, but we'll see. How good was it when we last went to go and see Aaron in St. Louis?
Amazing.
But we're talking,
Incredible.
I think we spoke about it, didn't we? I think it's looking like it'll probably be Texas, won't it, to play a few Mexican teams, or maybe LA. But they could go to like Florida, couldn't they, too?
Just one, as Aaron will definitely be listening. There is a horse called Kansas City Chief running tomorrow in the 2:10.
American link.
I mean, Bayliss, there were lots of pockets, lots of areas that it could potentially be. Obviously, it's a massive country, so it depends how much traveling they want to do. But you've got some blockbuster ones on there, sort of like your Inter Miamis and things like that. But you've also got Colorado Rapids. You've got the Jack Price link there as well. We could go there and disgrace ourselves again, just like in the heady days of 2018. Will you be going?
Did they give any dates or anything? I've only saw.
There's no dates and it's not confirmed, so don't book anything.
It will happen. It was meant to happen in 2020, wasn't it? It was all but done. Because I remember everyone's getting excited, weren't they? But it's going to be down south because they want the Mexico link, don't they? Let's be honest. They want to go and play Club America and things like that for Raul. So it'd be exciting though, and it's just to make our brand bigger, isn't it? They're doing it just to get our brand out there again.
Is it going to be one of those where they pick some college NFL stadium and try and get as many people in it as possible?
Maybe. And I saw on social media as well, there was a lot of, because there's a lot of American-based clubs, like fan clubs, isn't there? Like Baltimore. Baltimore's American, isn't it?
Baltimore,
yes. Yeah, so, New York Wolves, whatever. I've seen them getting quite excited about it as well. So there'll be a lot of American fans.
There'll at least be 5 people there.
Yeah. It made me laugh. He said to Aaron was like, "Oh, brilliant, I can go." I said, "Yeah, just a 10-hour drive down the road."
Yeah,
just nip down, just around the corner,
down the shop, and go to the Wolves game on the way. I mean, it'd be quite funny just to watch loads of Wolves fans teaching the Americans how to do fucking chants properly. Like, because their chanting game is awful, and you just need to sort it out. Because
some of the videos you sent me from Colorado.
They come and they've got all the gear. They got all the gear. They've got their megaphones. They've got all this. They've got everything. Looks like it's ready to go. And then they're like, I think we are gonna win. It's like, guys, come on. We're all hammered, but God, you think?
And it's always like a pasty, pretty, like flabby white bloke with his top off.
That's you, isn't it?
The game with a megaphone.
I was going to say, yeah.
Stones in glass houses, my friend. You get what I mean? It's like that sort of nerdy sort of.
It always is.
Against it. It's quite.
They've
funny,
always got glasses, 100%. Not there's anything wrong with that. I've got power on. So we look forward to that, and hopefully it goes ahead, and what a year it could be for football, because it's obviously going to come home in November, December.
Oh my God, Paul! That's a great little link. Where has Mr. Miami gone? Has anyone heard from him? He's just fell off the face of the earth, hasn't he?
No, I don't
Paul's
know.
put in the comments. Let's have a look what he's put. Where is Mr. Miami gone? He seems to have fallen out of a lot of people. No idea, Paul. But that is a good point because I forgot. Is he still doing his videos? He'd be there, wouldn't he? I'm sure he'll fly over to, especially if we're playing Miami. Be on brand, that wouldn't it? And also, just look at the comments. It looks like Hwang will be out Friday as well. So we might be seeing Trincao in the starting 11, which I didn't think would be happening. Or hopefully it'd be Neto. But 3-0 Wolves vs Leeds. 3-0. No, Jesus.
Well, we'll wait and see. And it's going to be a nice calm one on Friday, isn't it, Harry?
Yeah, we're driving up, won't we, mate? So no more
football. Enjoy the
no
football.
More madness anymore. I'll retire.
Excellent. Yeah. Until next time. Excellent. Right, okay. We'll say goodbye to Daniel Bayliss.
Yeah, goodbye, one.
And Harry Mansell.
Get well soon, Jack, and just throw them Sonic in the bin.
Yeah, just be careful. Lift with your knees, and it is a goodbye from me. Goodbye.
Goodbye.